hopeless. The situation we are in is hopeless. Um, so I wanted to discuss this thing. This shadow work stuff was really nice, but I had a flashback to Blondie's bullshit at Papa John's. Specifically, we're talking about the movie Wanted. He really didn't like the end of Wanted when the loom spit out that everybody in the cult had to die, and Angelina Jolie's character kills everyone. Because that's what the loom said to do. Like, she was a good person. She had integrity, and she followed the rules. And that's why everybody died. Yeah. That's what that looks like when you mindlessly follow the rules like a good bitch. So, during that conversation, Blondie, I realized part of the sideways speak or double speak and all the speaky speak bullshit is part of its neurolinguistics programming. And Blondie started talking about basically the Dark Knight indirectly, and how in the Dark Knight, Batman says they have to chase him, they have to hate him. And he was doing this in front of Kevin and Blondie's brother, who's another fuck I worked with, Trefoletry. And they were like, oh, Bobby's agreeing to be your villain. Oh, he's going to be the villain so that Blondie can be the hero. And I didn't understand what was going on, but now I do understand what was going on. That I guess Blondie technically planned all this from the beginning. That's why all the hypnosis. Dude, I remember a ridiculous hypnosis session with him behind Papa John's that had to have gone on for at least an hour. And it was him just programming bullshit into my mind. And when these people can't get what they want, they switch to antisocial and they start speaking sideways, and then they fool the subconscious into giving them what they want. So that shit about free will only goes so far, because they can slowly manipulate and twist what your problems are, what your issues are, and then bend it into what they want it to be, okay? It is a ridiculous amount of mental gymnastics and a stupid amount of work just to get what you want, but whatever. So after that session is when we had the Wanted session, where I was talking about the movie Wanted, and then he started talking about the Dark Knight, and then I was like, they have to, I repeated the Batman thing with the, they have to chase him, they have to hate him. It has to be this way. And everybody in Blondie was like, see? And I realize now what he was doing was he was pre-programming me or reprogramming me to play the villain later, which I guess is now, okay? I don't know if there's a trigger word or something they program me with, because I'm starting to think of a bunch of really things that were kind of sus when I got to Florida that were kind of out of place, that really didn't make sense to me. Like the day they poisoned me with the coffee and I was leaving my house, one of their members was straight up outside of my house. Yeah. Obviously, all the doctors at the hospital, because I remember asking to get the aluminum phosphide test, and they all pretended to be stupid. And it was like fake pretending to be stupid, as if they didn't understand. And then there was this girl in the back that was just staring at me. She wasn't even a part of the doctor team. She was just a nurse that was staring at me as if, like, she knew something. And like I said, these people are motherfuckers. It's that shit with that one picture where it's like, this is where the cult is, don't go there. Like, yeah, they're all the cult. Like, fucking... Anyways, yeah, so he was programming me to be the bad guy, but I had the realization, I was looking at the emotional unavailability and how it creates apathy. I don't believe I'm 100% emotionally stunted. I think I'm emotionally unavailable. That's my theory. And I'm pretty sure they're probably similar. And I was about to do all the work, because, you know, the ego death gives you all the shadow work to do. You do the shadow work, you develop and become your highest self, which is not on drugs or has a lead brain. I don't think I can do that, because the emotional unavailability stops these people from manipulating me. You see, emotional manipulation is a thing, and these people do all the forms of manipulation. I think, because Blondie said, what if you had this guy that's really good at figuring out when he's being manipulated, so you can't manipulate him, but then you manipulated him in the wrong way, and then you manipulated him in the right way, and then you manipulate, and I was, Blondie, stop hurting this guy. Stop hurting me. Stop it. You're not gonna, let's be honest, you can't. So he was like, no, I'm gonna double down and triple down and do the wrong thing until it turns out to be right, because I can't fuck everything up. You can, you fucked everything up. So, the emotional unavailable, Bob. So my theory is he's trying to manipulate, that this entire ego death thing was him trying to manipulate me into becoming an emotionally available person so that he could manipulate that. And I believe this may have had a big reason as to why the Belly Girl ended up dying and Ganon and Stu force-fed her to death. Because I gotta wonder if they're just really stupid and they go follow the rules, like retards do, without any thought process, because they don't think. They think thinking is stupid. That's what stupid people do, think. Smart people just keep doing fucked up shit and ruining lives of other people and then screaming they're the victims in it, apparently. I cannot in good conscience train myself or develop into an emotionally available person. And I know what I'm sacrificing for that. I literally, when I had the realization, my neck started hurting, like right here. I started feeling severe neck pain. Like I said, part of the spiritual journey was weird because suddenly my back started getting better. And it is really sad to say that, but with these predators, and they are predators, I cannot in good conscience just be like, one of my strongest things that makes me so difficult to manipulate, throw it out, and then go, I'm just gonna trust that Blondie is gonna manipulate me to do the right thing. 'Cause he can't. And furthermore, Anal Eating Mummy God called me and told me I had to get this right, and I told him that was never gonna happen because I know me. I'm not wrong about me, by the way. I know me. And he was explaining to me that Blondie had set this up, that Blondie did this deliberately, because no matter what, he wants to be the one that gets the external validation and all the love. He does not want me to have that. That's not something I'm allowed to have. And his specific thing was Blondie's extreme classism from the Friedrich Nietzsche shit. And I was like, does he not feel any shame in the fact that he caused this event, and then he's gonna demand that everybody love and worship him for fixing the same thing he caused? And I was like, because nobody in their right mind is going to be like, Blondie, you fucked everything up and you're the great hero. And he was like, well, America has a short-term memory. And he's like, and you're not going to be around to tell them that Blondie fucked everything up, because we're not going to let that happen. He was like, Blondie's going to be remembered as a hero, and you're going to be remembered as a garbage human being that ran a human trafficking ring and had sex with babies. And I was like, okay. And we had a back and forth. Once again, these people can't say the word sorry for shit, but whatever. In this hopeless situation, you might go, Bobby, this sounds like there is no winning. There is no winning. These guys have $300 billion. They have millions of people willing to help them, and there's just me. Okay, some guy from that has a learning disabled disorder, that has an ungodly amount of emotional neglect and psychological traumas, and they want my defective ass to take down a massive human trafficking ring all by myself with a bunch of skills I simply don't have. I guess, take solace in the fact that Blondie's gonna do something. Like, they're gonna use my presidential pardon, so it wouldn't surprise me if, like, they get rid of the human trafficking, kinda, but then they use my presidential pardon, they get their bastards out, and yes, the malignant narcissists at this church are bastards, and those bastards still maintain and threaten their wives, and everybody still helps the bastard keep his wives through threats, so those women will permanently be miserable. Their belief marriage is eternal and you can't get out of it. Which is why they love bomb so hard, because once the bitch is your slave, she's your slave. She can't go anywhere. I briefly thought about this aspect because when I was talking to George Miller, he talked about why Augusta Gore was taken. If you understand malignant narcissists, they never want to be out of your life. They have to be a part of it in some way. And I believe that a big chunk of the reason Blondie does want Mary isn't anything to do with love. He just wants a little piece of me, to make sure that he stays in my head forever. Which, good job with the immaturity. And I think that was the same thing with George. I think that's why he took George's. They're all malignant narcissists. They all think the same. They're not special. They're not unique in any way. So, yeah, I think that's where we're at with this. Like, I'm kind of bummed because I thought I was on, like, this epic spiritual journey, but I think this entire thing may have been manufactured to some extent. I even remember briefly talking with Annalene Mummygon and telling him my father had way more money than my mother, so I wonder if my brother saying that he wanted to move to Florida and come down here and live was all organized by the church. And I would even go as far to say even how, like, whenever I catch anybody doing something they're not supposed to be doing, they immediately tell me they didn't do that and I'm crazy, and then they just walk off, which you guys have some real balls to call me crazy, okay? And it wouldn't of this entire thing, just, you gotta understand, there's thousands of these people, hundreds of thousands of these people, and they all do what the church leader tells them, okay? They're mindless. They don't think. They just do the stupid thing, and then when things get bad, they blame everybody else. They're the last, like I said, last people who need to be in charge of anything. They have zero accountability, so everything's everybody else's fault. Like, and, yeah, I realize now, like, I guess things could have been different if I wasn't emotionally unavailable, but I also believe being emotionally unavailable stopped me from getting killed. And, yeah, I probably would have been way more upset about this church. Like, the only reason I could think of in my mind to do anything about these people is, one, the injustice, but in Adventure Time, there's this thing with this mountain, and in the mountain, the first window is desire. In Adventure Time, it's like a mirror or something, and the desire is your loved ones or a relationship you wish to have, and when you're emotionally unavailable, you can't have those. And Blondie took Mary, so there's not that window. That window's not an option. The middle window is fear, which I don't fear death. I don't. In fact, I actually wish that one of the wishes, many, remember I said I made many wishes. I wish that Mary Bowberry shot me in the head and she refused to do it. Now, the next time I get my wish, I'm going to wish that she has to shoot me in the head or Blondie has to shoot her in the head. That way that we can get that done with. We're going to get that done real quick. It's going to be great. Now, the third window is self. Kind of like Scott Pilgrim with Gideon, where Gideon steps down on the pyramid and he was like, you want to fight me for her? No, I want to fight you for me. And Scott earned the power of self-respect. Unfortunately, that does not make a giant flaming katana pop out of your chest and enable you to cut people into coins. And I don't think I have self-respect. I barely have normal respect, in case you can't tell from how I curse and say all these things in the video. That could be a character flaw. I'm going to write that down. Respect, probably. I do mutual respect, but that's about it. Bare minimum. So, yeah, I think that's where we're at with this. The good news is something will be done. Blondie will do something. I don't, whatever, dude. I'll be in prison or dead, according to Anal Eating Mummy God. He literally told me, whatever you do, you don't want that. And I wonder if he was referencing the fact that the Jewish guy said I was self-punishing, and he was worried that I'd be like, oh, this is a great self-punishment for me because I fucked everything up, which honestly, I do believe my shadow self does believe that. He's like, you deserve to be punished instead of try to fix things, which is kind of a really bad way of thinking about things, but it's my shadow self. He's all the things I reject. So if I'm like, I don't believe in self-punishment, he definitely believes in self-punishment. So you're kind of constantly trapped with this duality of a mirror. I don't know how you're supposed to get anything done, honestly. It's kind of like, you have like a collective conscience mind or some shit. It's very fucking jarring. And any wife they try to give me, I mean, I can stay emotionally unavailable and just have neck pain the rest of my life, because any wife they try to give me is just going to be knifing me in the back as many times as they can before I inevitably get pissed and beat them to death or stab them to death, and then the church will send somebody out to murder my ass and scream they're the victims in it when all they had to do was leave me alone, but they can't because their malignant narcissist leader can't let shit go because they're emotionally stunted and they don't know how to process those. It is funny that they keep hitting on my learning comprehension disorder, because my learning comprehension disorder isn't any different than their inability to process their own emotions. They're probably literally the same neurological condition. I'd be willing to bet on it. Once again, somebody should just beat them until they process their emotions. That way they can understand. They can understand me through sympathy. Oh God, that's what we've been doing, beating a guy even though he doesn't have those parts. Just whatever, man. Hope is kind of a delusion, and I think it's the brain's like kind of like how the brain will dump DMT when you die so that you're not in pain anymore. That's kind of what hope is. It's the last thing you grab onto when it's all over. I've always been a bit too rational for that. So yeah. In a nutshell, Blondie tried to trick me into thinking he's manipulating me into doing something else, but he was actually trying to manipulate me into doing something else, and it was going in two directions the entire time. And he didn't think I was going to figure it out, even though I'm literally hot-wired to figure things like this out. And especially on this timeline, holy shit, did I have time to figure this shit out. I'm more impressed with my ability to recall shit which was stolen from me. I got an amazing memory, dude. Holy fuck. Is there, how much time's left? I got like 3 minutes. This whole thing reminds me of this story this girl told when I was in like kindergarten. It wasn't kindergarten, it was like 5th grade. We had to write these journals, and one of them was the story of this guy that was kind of like Martin Luther King or something. He was this dude that was just doing good work and helping people, and he was about to become mayor. And then these guys were convinced that that guy had to be evil, because everybody has flaws, and that's just a fact of life. And I remember Blondie going on about how I was self-righteous because I have flaws, and he knows that because the wives drugged me, turned me into somebody I'm not, destroyed my conscious mind, let my unconscious mind run amok, and then everybody blamed me for it, for the decisions of other people. Once again, I never would have did those things had they not done those things to me. But, you know, that's just me. But they basically tortured this guy, believing that he's evil. He has to be evil somehow. They tried to prove he's cheating on his wife, and when they find out he's not cheating on his wife, they lie and start telling people they cheated, and they run a smear campaign, and they just keep hurting this dude that's like a really good guy in the story, and they just keep doing it, and then the dude ends up in prison, and then everything starts getting bad for the guys, because they won, but the victory's a Picarian victory, because everything in the town goes bad because that guy didn't get to become mayor, and the guy that's a garbage piece of shit mayor gets to be mayor, and he starts like taxing everybody into the dirt and acting like a tyrant and all that other jazz. And those guys then go to get that guy out of prison, believing that he's still a good man, and then when they get him out, he's like a trillion times worse than the other mayor. this guy just goes on a murder spree because these people successfully ruined his relationship with his wife. They successfully destroyed every meaning this guy had, and he loses his shit, and he fakes it the entire time, all the way up until he becomes, and then when he becomes mayor, he just starts like, or I think it's like a dictatorship, I don't know, like king or something. When he becomes ruler, he just decimates and decimates and decimates. And then the guys that fucked him up to begin with go after him in the story. They get there and they shoot him in the head and kill him. And they're like, oh man, how did this happen? And they don't have introspective. And then this little soliloquy at the end of the story explains their problem is those guys never apologized or actually fixed anything. They just wanted the good guy to fix everything they messed up.